This is the Sean Hannity Show podcast.
All right, glad you're with us. Write down our toll-free telephone number. You want to be a part of this extravaganza. It's 800-941-SEAN if you want to join us. You know, I got to be honest, this is getting very almost entertaining, the media reaction to Donald Trump. It is beyond funny at this point. You know, so all these people that were biased, abusively so, that have been exposed by WikiLeaks, you know, look at the little pipsqueak over at CNN, Brian Stelter. He's Jeff Zucker's stenographer. I hear he's in his office constantly, and they're obsessed that I actually tweet them. So I probably have given the pipsqueak way too much attention, and I probably will stop after today because it's just a waste of my time. But I have had fun. And having fun is a good part of this job. It's one of the side bennies that you get because I get to call these people out in ways that they otherwise wouldn't. So what has the media now been focused on? You know, Steve Bannon, even though there's no evidence, and all these prominent Jewish Americans have all come out and said, no, he's not an anti-Semite. No, here's a speech where he praises the Judeo-Christian ethic. Oh, here's his friends, many of them that are prominent Jewish Americans. Even Alan Dershowitz came to his defense. Joel Pollack is the senior editor at large and in-house counsel at Breitbart. As a matter of fact, we're going to have him on later in the program today. So that's not working. Then their focus is on Donald Trump snuck away from the press pool. Does he not know he's the president-elect? He snuck away, and he went to dinner. Oh, but, okay, he went to the 21 Club. And Linda, have you ever been to the 21 Club? I have never been. I actually yesterday gave a speech at the Harvard Club to the Radio Ink people. I gave one other speech there. You walk in the door, and your nose literally lifts up above your eyeballs. It's such a stuffy place. By the way, the place is gross. Seriously. They need they have this hideous, ugly red, maroon, I guess Harvard colors carpet. And I mean, the floors, I'm like, guys, sand the floors and you can redo them. I mean, they needed paint. It was like, this is the Harvard Club? I mean, it was horrible. So anyway, I mean, I don't go to these snooty places. I never go to the Tavern on the Green or what's some of the other snooty restaurants in New York. I don't go to the Plaza Hotel. I don't go to the Waldorf. You know, I don't hang out with the rich, the popular, the famous, those that have champagne wishes and caviar dreams. You know, those that, only the little people pay taxes. Those people. Anyway, so it's a famous place to dine. Apparently, it's Donald Trump's favorite restaurant. And apparently, he orders a hamburger every time he goes there. So it's not like Donald Trump. He took his family out to dinner. He didn't tell the press he was going out to dinner. And they're all wigged out that Donald Trump went to a fancy restaurant and ordered a freaking hamburger with his family. Now, did Donald Trump ask for a private room? No, just the opposite. He sat down with all the other people in the fancy restaurant in the main dining room. And apparently the dining room stood up and applauded him for 10 minutes. He got a standing ovation. Now, the media's all bent out of shape. He didn't tell the press pool he's going to get a hamburger. And then the next thing is, did you see Ivanka? This is an outrage. Ivanka Trump was wearing her own jewelry line in the 60 Minutes interview. Oh, maybe she should have worn somebody else's jewelry in the interview. Then there wouldn't be such a big deal. And they tweeted out a picture of it and said you could buy. And by the way, it's expensive and everything. She's abusing the presidency. So they sent out a note saying, okay, this was our standard protocol. If I'm out and I'm wearing jewelry that I like, that I design, that I sell, that's part of my business. I'm not begging you to buy it. If you want to buy it, buy it. But we will adjust the protocol. Everyone's adjusting to the new situation. And this is what they're focused on. If you go to Drudge now, this is hilarious. Watching the elevators at Trump Tower, there is a live cam at the elevators at Trump Tower as they now take note of who is going in, a who's who of political and business elite I guess, going to kiss the ring. I probably shouldn't say this, but I've gone to Trump Tower. We've done many a TV show from there, for example. There's another entrance I know about where there's no camera. All of you in the media, you're a bunch of dummies. There's another entrance that I know about. It's an exclusive Hannity entrance. It's not really an exclusive. They're gonna, you know what? They're gonna actually run with that because they're so dumb. They're gonna be like, Hannity's secret entrance. Hannity bought a picture of all the presidents and Obama and the forgotten man and Obama, who, by the way, did, according to his own words, rip up the Constitution when he said he didn't have the legal authority to, with the stroke of a pen, issue executive orders and amnesty and immigration, but he did it anyway. So this particular painting by John McNaughton, which is on my website, Hannity.com, the forgotten man, I said this is the forgotten man election. That means 50 million Americans on food stamps, 50 million in poverty, and 95 million Americans out of work. That's why these people voted, because they want jobs, hope, opportunity back, and they don't want the debt that we've got and everything else. So anyway, so there is a live cam. Now, there are people that are walking in the main entrance, although a little Hannity secret to the media, there are multiple other entrances, some that you don't know about, and some that are completely private, that you would never know who snuck in or out. They'll go right in and out under your nose, and you will not see them. It's so stupid. But anyway, some of the people that have been coming in, you've got, obviously, Kellyanne Conway, she works there. You've got one of his fundraisers, Steve Mnuchin, is there, and Comrade de Blasio, the mayor of New York, is there. I'm going to get to him in a minute. Eric Trump actually went to see his father. That's really big news. And Senator Jeff Sessions, one of his best friends, he's there too. And Lieutenant General Michael Flynn. Floyd Money Mayweather visited. By the way, great champion, horrible fight to watch. A Mayweather fight is the dullest fight you'd ever seen. It's not like Conor McGregor at the Garden this weekend. Wow, that's a fight. Finally, we have Ultimate Fighting in New York, UFC Fighting in New York. Did you see pay-per-view, Jason? Did you watch it?
I'm not an Ultimate Fighting guy, but I heard that it was the number one all-time
record
seller at the Garden.
I had 4 tickets, and at the last minute, I had to go into a secret private entrance someplace. Yeah, it's unbelievable how stupid these people. Anyway, so those people are there. Now, and by the way, I'm not saying where I was, who I was with, what I'm doing, and when I'm, it's like with the painting. Did you buy the painting? Politico, apparently they only give editorial control to the Hillary Clinton campaign because they wrote an article about me today and they never called me. They never wanted to know what I'm doing with the Forgotten Man painting. Well, you're going to have to wait and see. And by the way, why is it anybody's business what I do with something I buy? Remember the whole thing about, well, Hannity, did you fly Newt Gingrich to meet Donald Trump in Indiana? And my answer, it's none of your business what I do. Now, if I donate money to a campaign, then that's a different story. What if I knew ahead of time that Newt Gingrich's meeting had nothing to do with him being vice president? These people write things and they don't know anything, and nor do they even ask. The only people that get asked are the Clinton campaign. And then, of course, you got the liberal media. Anyway, so the pipsqueak Brian Stelter writes, media accessibility was a winning strategy for Trump in the primaries. How about trying it again now as president-elect? So I tweeted back, why should @real Donald Trump ever go on CNN again? Or NBC again? Or CNBC again? Or MSNBC? Oh, guess what? Stephen A. just wrote me, I was ringside for McGregor. I love Stephen A. He's my buddy. Stephen A., you didn't ask Sean Hannity, your brown belt wearing friend, to go with you. Really? And you're ringside? If I knew you liked Ultimate Fighting, I would have brought you with me. I ended up giving the tickets to my martial arts instructor, my sensei. He got them, and he took them. He went there. But they weren't as good as ringside with Stephen A. Thanks a lot. Anyway, so why should Donald Trump go on any of these people? CNN feeds questions to forums and debates to Hillary Clinton ahead of time to help her cheat. CNN colludes with the DNC. You know, where's the apology? This guy, this pipsqueak Stelter, the stenographer of Jeff Zucker, who runs the Clinton News Network, he's out there talking about the need for soul searching. Okay, where's CNN's apology for how biased they were during this campaign? Now, the New York Times tried a little bit. They tried a little bit that they're going to rededicate themselves to being great journalists. Well, that's after an election that they tried to heavily influence. You know, so they tweeted out, oh, we've added 41,000 new subscriptions from Election Day. Well, I don't trust the New York Times. You know, all right, so they have an audience. What is their audience? Occupy Wall Street, MoveOn.org, Black Lives Matter, the entire alt-radical left movement. Who else is their voice? All right, so that's the print voice of all these radical groups. You know, pigs in a blanket, fry them like bacon. What do we want? Dead cops. What do we want them now? But I guess their TV voice is CNN, MSNBC, CNBC, NBC, ABC, CBS. I mean, this is what happened. This is what was exposed in this election. And my attitude is, why should Donald Trump ever talk to them? By the way, Obama, this is going to be fascinating on his way out. He just set a new record for rules and regulations for his administration, spitting out 527 pages worth in just a single day as he races to put his fingerprint on every corner of American life. Now, that just means Donald Trump is going to have to spend an extra hour the first day he's president rescinding all of this crap. I can't rescind the pardons, and one of the big questions now facing Obama, and this is really not a Trump issue, because the FBI is going to finish its investigation into Hillary Clinton. They're going to look into the private email server and the Clinton Foundation. Then there will be a real attorney general appointed under the Trump administration. The attorney general's not going to consult with Donald Trump on what to do about Hillary Clinton. So Barack Obama now faces a very difficult dilemma in his life. Jesse Jackson is asking Obama to please pardon Clinton.
President Ford was simply determined to stop the potential harm, restrain the hemorrhaging, and heal the wound. There are those in their anger and spirit of retribution who want to use Hillary Clinton as a trophy in the name of false justice. It would be wise, in the name of justice and the lineage of Lincoln and Ford, for President Obama to do the same and to pardon Hillary Clinton.
Obama, I'm telling you, doesn't want to do it. But if he wants Hillary to get off, he's probably going to have to. One other interesting side note is, I don't want to hear another complaint from all you libs out there about how Donald Trump is encouraging his supporters to commit violence. Number one, it's not true. Number two, we've got the list of Presidential Medal of Freedom recipients announced by the White House today. Let's see, Robert De Niro, whose last major performance was a video threatening to punch Donald Trump in the face. That's who Barack Obama thinks that deserves the highest non-military award a president can bestow on any American. Oh, okay. He thinks, he said about De Niro, he thinks he's gaming society. De Niro said rather about Trump. Doesn't pay his taxes. He's an idiot. So he wants to punch him in the face. Okay, that's really nice. And the president had a chance to deal with these protesters. We've shown you the violence on TV. We'll do it again tonight. Does the president tell him to calm down and stop? Nope. Listen to this.
You've spoken a great deal about what you've characterized as kind of a crude form of nationalism, perhaps on the rise. I'm wondering if you would advise some of those protesters at home to stop demonstrating against some of the charged rhetoric that has been used by Donald Trump. And I'm wondering as well if you've advised your successor to be extra mindful of what you see as some very worrisome trends, particularly when it comes to making his own potentially powerful staff picks.
One of the great things about our democracy is it expresses itself in all sorts of ways, and that includes people protesting. I've been the subject of protests during the course of my 8 years, and I suspect that there's not a president in our history that at some point hasn't been subject
why tell him to stop even? All right, forget enough. Oh, by the way, did you notice the ADL rescinded their comments and accusation that Steve Bannon was racist? Or, I'm sorry, anti-Semitic. That was because so many people stood up for Steve Bannon and said, no, he's just the opposite. He's a strong believer, and speech after speech shows he's a strong believer and supporter of Israel and the Judeo-Christian ethic. Whoopsie-daisy.
Hannity Headline, a bite-sized version of the show that you can take with you everywhere you go. To sign up today for Hannity Headlines, go to Hannity.com.
By the way, I made this point the other day, network slamming Steve Bannon. Okay, what about ignoring Keith Ellison's radicalism? Keith Ellison, you know, guy who's Louis Farrakhan's friend, that guy. I mean, media research pointed out how the big three networks spend almost no time on radical Democrat, alt-left Democrat Keith Ellison. Alt-radical left. By the way, alt-right. Did anyone ever hear what alt-right is before this election? I never did. So, okay, we're going to say the alt-radical left. What does the alt-radical left consist of? It consists of the Occupy movement. It consists of, let's see, what else does it consist of? Occupy, MoveOn.org, Black Lives Matter, all the Alinskyite disciples. You know, the same Black Lives Matter. What do we want? Dead cops. When do we want them now? Those same people that got invited to the White House by Obama. So I guess that makes Obama part of the alt-radical left movement. And Hillary Clinton sought their endorsement. So that makes her the alt-radical left candidate that she was. Anyway, so since November 13th, ABC, NBC, CBS, they went on their feeding frenzy against Bannon. According to media research, 41 minutes, 46 seconds covering Trump's announcement of Bannon's inclusion in the White House staff. 74% of the coverage is negative. Even the ADL now has taken back their charge of anti-Semitism. Because it's not true, as I told you the other day. Prominent Jewish Americans, everyone from Levin, Joel Pollack, even Alan Dershowitz, Pam Geller, David Horowitz, Dennis Prager. They all know Bannon. This was a smear from the beginning. Anyway, Bannon is called every manner of name based only on alt-radical left innuendo. And by the way, CNN with their big soul searching going on, they too are guilty of the smear coverage. So in other words, the media hasn't learned a darn thing. There is no soul searching. They're upset that Donald Trump went out to the 21 Club with his family and didn't tell the press. And he ordered a hamburger in the main dining room where everybody else was. Gee, what a shocker. Or that poor Ivanka wore her own jewelry in the 60 Minutes interview. This is what they're obsessed about. Could you imagine? They're doing their dirt digging right now to smear, slash, burn, slander, besmirch, use character assassination on anybody that Trump wants to bring in. This is what the left does. Now the kids are so upset at our schools, they need aromatherapy. And they need their teachers and professors to give them hot cocoa.
To be a joke. I do not believe this is happening. I'm literally about to kill myself, and I'm not kidding. You better.
Now, this is a Bernie Sanders lady.
I literally am going to die. I need an ambulance.
Typical liberal, though. That's kind of like what we're reading about, but that was a Bernie Sanders supporter. By the way, Bernie Sanders supporters, don't you now feel that you were cheated? Because you were. You absolutely were screwed over, top to bottom, left to right, even sideways. They got you every way coming and going. Anyway, Keith Ellison's coverage is next to nothing. They've only given a scant 2 minutes, 9 seconds of coverage, according to Media Research Center. And it was all fawning coverage, despite the rising voice of concern by Jewish groups worried about his past radical statements. The networks ignored his praise for racist anti-Semitic leader Louis Farrakhan of the Nation of Islam, his support of reparations, his demands the U.S. government set aside land inside the country for a new, quote, black homeland. He has a history of Muslim Brotherhood connections, according to Steve Emerson. Oh, but we're going to talk about poor Steve Bannon again and again and again. Then we're going to give a Medal of Honor to the guy that threatened to punch Donald Trump. By the way, even the French are recognizing after Brexit and the win of Donald Trump, the French prime minister, warned that the more nationalist party in France has a chance of winning next year's presidential election. Oh, maybe we're learning something. Isn't that interesting? Trump's transition is moving faster than Obama's and Clinton's. That's the other thing the media is fixated on. Last few days, the alt-radical left, Trump-hating media, they've kept up a steady drumbeat of reports claiming that Trump's transition is in chaos, that it's rife with internal divisions. Nobody can agree on anything. They're way behind schedule. Well, I hate to bring truth to power and reality, but the Trump transition so far, at least, has been one of the smoothest in modern history. Here's an interesting Drudge headline. Trump shock. Secretary of State Romney? No way. That would be pretty shocking. NBC, but look, it's NBC. I can't. How do I cite them as sources anymore? They're just so unreliable. You know, the best way for me to find out what's going on is just pick up a phone and ask them. And the reason I don't bother Kellyanne, who's a 20-year friend of mine, and Bannon, a 20-year friend of mine, and call Donald Trump directly because he takes my calls, is because I don't bother them. And I figure when they've got an announcement to make, they'll make it. And I'm not looking for insider information. And as Newt Gingrich said on this program yesterday, those that know aren't saying. And those that don't know are speculating like crazy. Anyway, the CNBC article goes on to say that former Republican presidential nominee Mitt Romney will meet with Trump this weekend to discuss the Secretary of State position. In March, the former Massachusetts governor called Trump a phony and a fraud. Also campaigned with John Kasich. And, who knows? Anything, I guess, can happen. I think that would be a bad choice. You know, this is my take on elections and on loyalty. The last people on are the first people off. Because every presidency is going to hit bumps in the road. And the people that were so quick to attack, slander, abandon Trump, now that are kissing the ring, I guess, as we watch this long litany of people walking into Trump Tower, getting filmed by the live cam, waiting there, not knowing about the secret entrance that Hannity knows about. And they're going up, I guess, kissing his ring. I hope Trump isn't stupid enough to fall for this crap. Seriously. Let me tell President-elect Trump my opinion on this. Okay. I'm going to be very blunt. Paul Ryan's not your friend. Sorry. That's how I feel. Mitch McConnell's not your friend. Sorry, I'm just telling you the truth. Mitt Romney is not your friend. John Kasich is not your friend. Lindsey Graham is not your friend. John McCain is not your friend. Let's see, who am I forgetting here? Jeb Bush is not your friend. They're just not. They didn't want you to win. All these people at the National Review and Weekly Standard, they're not your friend either. Wall Street Journal, they're not your friend. If you want a friend, I would urge President-elect Trump. I don't know if he likes dogs. I don't know how you can't love dogs. I love dogs. I've got two of the best dogs ever. I got my Bernice, Gracie. I'm so sad when I lost Duffy and so sad when I lost Snowball. And then we got the new Majestic Manor Golden, and that's Marley. Marley's a trip. Marley is the most fun I've ever had with a dog because she is a retriever. So I'm constantly throwing balls so far, and she loves retrieving them and loves chasing them again. And I love playing that game. I could play that game all day until she tuckers out. And I know she's tuckered out when she says, okay, I'm done now. I'm going to lay here and not come back anymore. That's when I know she's had enough. I'm like, get over here. Give her that mean daddy voice. Get over here. Get over. And she like kind of, And she'll make her way back, drop whatever we're playing with, and then walk away and says, I'm done. I'm not playing anymore. You're wearing me out. I'm trying to keep you healthy. So Trump's campaign, in spite of what you read, is moving very well. San Francisco public schools are teaching students that Trump's a racist. ABC News in San Francisco, the public schools have offered a classroom lesson plan that calls President-elect Donald Trump a racist, sexist man who became president by pandering to the huge racist and sexist base in the country. So if you voted for him, you're a racist and sexist too. Pretty amazing. The same people. Did they ever say anything about Obama's friendship with Ayers and Dorn? Sitting in the pews of the Church of GD America and Reverend Wright? What an Alinskyite really believes about radicalism? Who Frank Marshall Davis is? Who Father Flager is? No. That was my job. Tim Kaine says he's not going to run for president. Gee, big announcement. I'm so glad they shared that with us. That was really big of them. I'm really excited to hear that. Oh my gosh, I was so worried about that. Trump, now you got this president now is going through and signing 527 pages of regulations. All right, so Trump, I think, is going to spend probably the first few hours of his presidency undoing all of them. And then some. The Washington Examiner says congressional officials and these anti-regulation groups, they're tallying up some of the regulations that Trump can eliminate under House and Senate rules. And the American Action Forum has a complete list of those regulations that can be targeted under the Congressional Review Act. Utilizing the congressional and presidential Trump, he can potentially repeal 48 major regulations at a minimum, which costs $42 billion and 53 million hours of paperwork. This is what we can just start doing. The GOP, Jamie Dupree reported today, there was a nice column written about Jamie Dupree in the Atlanta Journal-Constitution. You should put it up on our website, Linda. Add it to our news thing. By the way, our website has gotten so good with our new team. I met with them today. They were great. And they're like, we did this without any of your help. We just built it. I know. I said, I'm a little busy. Anyway, Jamie Dupree has had voice issues now for a while, and he's still on our team. We love him. He's always going to be on our team, and we're just hoping he gets his voice back sooner than later. But he sends me notes every day. Says the GOP has given, I should do this in Jamie Dupree. Now, from the Hill, Jamie Dupree. And then he starts giving, well, the GOP gave up on his budget work for now, and I'd interrupt him and I'd say, Jamie, why? What, they were trying to stick in earmarks again? Really? Seriously? And then he would tell me, well, Paul Ryan put an end to it, at least for now. Mike Pence has made the rounds on Capitol Hill today, telling GOP lawmakers that he can be their liaison to the president and says everyone should buckle up for a lot of action next year. That's good news. No decisions yet on which bills are going to go forward. I do have some insider information I will not share with the liberal media. Minnesota officer charged with manslaughter. I always hate to hear that, but let's wait and see what the facts say. It was a great piece. You got to give a shout out. Shrillery. How Matt Drudge won the 2016 election. There is no doubt in my mind, without the alternative voice of social media leading with Drudge, that I think that, I don't think that Trump could have won because the mainstream media was so against him. So I think he deserves a lot of credit for taking a stand, and he was criticized like everybody else. And he was just given information that people can look at and make their own determination about. What else do we got here? You know, one of the things that Trump's going to have to watch is, there's a really good piece by Daniel Horowitz, who I like a lot, how if you think federal policy matters, here's why conservatives have a once-in-a-lifetime legislative opportunity at the state level. And that's on conservativereview.com. I don't have time to get into all of it right now. The media is freaked out by the Trump ditching of the press pool. Howard Dean compared Trump's election to Kent State shootings and Selma, Alabama's Bloody Sunday.
This younger generation, which I think is absolutely great, is used to doing everything on the Internet. They don't really like institutions. They don't need institutions. If they want to change, they go on the Internet, find 500,000 people who agree with them, and they insist on the change, and they usually get it. So this, I really think this election, they're so disheartened, and so down, and so tired and discouraged. This may be their Kent State or their Edmund Pettus Bridge, where you finally realize that you got to do something, that you can't, the path of, as Martin Luther King said, the arc of the universe is long, but it bends towards justice. Well, that's, it only bends towards justice if you make it bend towards justice. And so we've got to reach out to these folks.
Oh my God. Cry-ins, aromatherapy, coloring books, therapy dogs, Play-Doh. I can't believe it. Therapy dogs? Safety pins. That's become a new thing that they're doing on college campuses. Open letters by everybody. Clinton victory fantasies. That's a new one, by the way. They floated, assassination fantasies, implied threats of insurrection. I mean, it's unbelievable what's going on. So the biggest temper tantrum I've ever seen in my life. Hey, you want the bell? Comrade de Blasio met with Trump. And by the way, he doesn't care that all of the expensive shops like Gucci and Tiffany, that they're screwed because nobody can get there because of the traffic. Oh, what about the poor guy that works there or the poor woman that works there?
This is the Sean Hannity Show podcast.
Based on current surveys of public opinion in the United States, it turns out that the majority of Americans think I've done a pretty good job. That we haven't, in fact, gone too fast, as you describe it. But what is certainly true is that the American people, just like the German people, just like the British and people around the world, are seeing extraordinarily rapid change. The world is shrinking, economies have become much more integrated, and demographics are shifting. Because of the internet and communications, the clash of cultures is much more direct. People feel, I think, less certain about their identity, less certain about economic security. They're looking for some means of control. And what that means is that the politics in all of our countries is going to require us to manage technology and global integration and all these demographic shifts in a way that makes people feel more control, that gives them more confidence in their future, but does not resort to simplistic answers or divisions of race or tribe or a crude nationalism, which I think can be contrasted to the pride and patriotism that we all feel about our respective countries. And I think that our politics everywhere are going to be going through this bumpy phase.
I'm really great. I'm so good. I'm so great. Let's forget some mere facts. Why let facts get in the way of a good old narrative, right? If you're Barack Obama, let's see, since he's been president, 13 Senate seats went from blue to red. 64 House seats went from Democrat to Republican. 14 governorships went from Democrat to Republican. 30 entire state houses have gone from Democrat to Republican. And that doesn't even include my normal numbers. 13 million more Americans on food stamps and 8 million more in poverty, 50 million in each category, and 95 million Americans out of the labor force, and the worst recovery since the 40s. But don't worry, Obama in his own brain thinks he did a great job. But maybe he thinks he did a good job in Libya or Iraq or Syria or that Russian reset. I don't know. We're here to tell us who owes me a huge amount of money after the election is Austin Goolsbee. Now, before you claim I didn't bet you, we have the tape. So I want you to know you're about to be held accountable.
Okay, play it.
No, I don't have it with me.
Oh, the tape proves me right.
No, there is one.
I said you had the tape.
But listen to me. We made a bet. We had a dinner bet.
I wanted to bet you all along.
I said dinner.
I was take more of your money, and you wouldn't bet me.
That's so not true. That's like you saying that the Obama economy is good. That's like you saying that That's like you saying that Obama's been really good on the debt and deficits. That's like Obama saying that he's a great president.
You said, yes, let's bet, finally.
I did.
On the fourth try.
I did.
Said, okay, let's do it.
So I thought it was the usual bet.
We bet.
I thought it was the usual bet. I paid off the last time. I took you and your wife. By the way, your wife was not included as part of the package of our bet, but I bought her dinner anyway.
One of the times.
And by the way, did I get a cheap bottle of wine? Did I bring Boone's Farm?
No, you had a classy bottle of wine.
Okay, I got an expensive bottle of wine. I said anything on the menu at an expensive steakhouse, and I took care of my... And on top of it, because you were whining so much, I even gave you a Ruth's Chris gift certificate on top of that.
Okay, so now that's what I was going to say. I'm going to send you, I think there's $8 left on that Ruth's Chris card, and I'm going to send you back that card.
Wait a minute, you have $8. Why didn't you give it to the waiter in a tip? Typical liberal doesn't want to wants everything for free and doesn't want to give a tip.
Eat enough. I tried to eat everything. I gave a nice tip. There's still $8 on it.
Oh my gosh. Well, anyway, how do you feel? You're not going to drink this Kool-Aid and say that Obama's such a good president, that his bad presidency, that the horrible economy we're in, that the horrible state of world affairs.
First of all, you need to update your numbers.
Hang on.
I don't feel good, as you might imagine, because your man won the presidency in the opposite of a landslide, but he did win.
Well, wait a minute. What's he up to, 306 electoral votes and going higher?
Than Ronald Reagan's was when he left office, so you better be a little careful.
Excuse me. Ronald Reagan left after having created real total jobs, 21 million new jobs, the longest period of peacetime growth in economic history. Excuse me, he's one of our greatest economic presidents. You can't say that about Obama when you have 13.
Then why wasn't he more popular when he left office?
Well, he actually was. I mean, if you look at even recent...
Obama's popularity is above Reagan's at this point in his office.
Well, let's see how history serves President Obama. I guarantee you. Now, one of the reasons I would argue, and we saw this in WikiLeaks, you even have to be upset at the fact that the New York Times and Politico were allowing the Clinton campaign to sign off on any article they wrote. You've got to be upset that CNN was feeding questions to Hillary Clinton. You've got to be upset
but those are two
that CNN
feeding the questions. That was
pretty bad, right?
That was not.
By the way, Politico wrote an article about me today. They didn't even ask me a question. Never mind have editing authority.
But on those others.
By the way, you got to see my painting I bought. It's called The Forgotten Man, and Obama's in it. He's stepping on the Constitution.
Oh, please. But now listen, if what happened, there was one of those cases that I was familiar with. As you know, it is normal to say when you're interviewing with someone, if you're on background, say, look, I'm going to say we're going to have an interview, and then when it's over, we have quote approval. Republicans and Democrats do that all the time. That's different than saying you have say over what the person is writing in their article. So if what they were talking about is quote approval and making sure that what they said was correct and accurate, I have no problem with that. If what it was is, hey, will you write my story for me? I do have
Okay, let me tell you what we know. We know that Donald Trump never got that opportunity.
No, we don't not.
Oh, wait a minute. Hang on. We know. Well, WikiLeaks didn't show any example of them offering.
But I mean, Breitbart has got many examples.
Breitbart. Wait a minute.
Other way.
Well, you have to give me a specific example because the New York Times was exposed, the Politico was exposed, CNBC was exposed, CNN is the worst, MSNBC, NBC.
That's a case that I know well. That was one which was about quote approval.
Excuse me. No, CNBC was about John Harwood,
John Harwood. Accurate. Can you clear this quote?
John Harwood was giving advice to the campaign, as WikiLeaks pointed out, and he was bragging, to the Clinton campaign that he got under Donald Trump's skin because he was colluding with the Clinton campaign. That's not. No, stop. You can't have it both ways.
And you know that I will often say, when you have a critique that is legit, I will often say, yes, that's fair. I think you're being a little unfair to Harwood. He was not colluding with or rooting for the Clinton campaign. That's
okay. Let me tell you where you're wrong. Because if he's going to moderate a debate and he's offering the campaign advice, which was proven, and he is and he is bragging to the Clinton campaign, hey, I got under Donald Trump's skin. That is not a human being that is objective, fair, and balanced. That's somebody that has an agenda, which, by the way, I make my living having opinions. But the difference between
good living you make,
and then the difference between me and John Harwood is I'm honest. The difference between me and the New York Times, I'm upfront and honest. They are sneaky. They lie to their viewers, their readers, their listeners. They're phony. They're corrupt. And journalism in America is dead.
I think you're going a little overboard in this case because to say nothing, I don't get your. I see why you like finding out the information in WikiLeaks, but I don't know why you're not more upset about
Obama's
Assange
economy?
and the Russians and
well, first of all, there's no evidence. WikiLeaks, by the way, WikiLeaks has never been proven wrong in 11 years. Excuse me. WikiLeaks has said this is not the Russians. Now,
I know that's what they said.
Okay, well, give me one
example. Our own intelligence community does
well,
not
it's
agree
not
with
17
that.
as Hillary said. No.
Let's say that they turn on President Trump and they start revealing a bunch of national secrets about President Trump and his administration. I think you're going to feel differently about it.
Let me tell you how I feel. When this first started with Julian Assange and WikiLeaks, my biggest fear was that innocent people were going to die as a result. Methods and people.
Yes.
All right.
And
well,
that's what you should.
That's what now. Here's what I think we are missing with WikiLeaks. That is a good thing. Two things that I think we should benefit from WikiLeaks. Number one, it exposed that we have no cybersecurity. In a backhanded way, WikiLeaks has done us an enormous favor. And the favor is now America's on notice. At 16 years of age, Julian Assange was able to break into the Department of Defense and to NASA. So we don't have cybersecurity. And if you don't have cybersecurity, you're not a nation with secrets. So the good news is it's been exposed. We now have an opportunity to fix the problem. Issue number two, we discovered how deeply corrupt, what a liar and a phony and a fraud both Hillary Clinton is and the news media is. I've been on radio now for 30. Hang on, let me finish. I've been on radio for 30 years.
I understand why you're happy with what information you gathered, but believe me, the Russians or whoever is supplying Assange with the cyber power that he has gathered, when they turn on Trump and start releasing really detrimental information, you're not going to be pleased. And I'm not going to be pleased either. Even though I don't favor Donald Trump, I don't like him. I really do not like foreign entities going in and taking the private messages from the U.S. government.
So now that it's been exposed,
totally wrong.
What are we going to do to fix it? Because at the end of the day, now that we know there's a problem, my answer is we better fix it.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So, and the second thing is, we learned here that what I said back in 2008 when I was vetting and doing the media's job and vetting your buddy Obama. And exposing
and ABC Radio.
Excuse me. When I was vetting Obama at a level that nobody could even compete with, I'm the one that gave
for the ABC Radio.
Okay, who gave George Stephanopoulos the question about Bill Ayers and Bernardine Dohrn? Do you want to know who gave it to him?
You did.
Yeah, I gave it to him right on my radio program.
You know who followed up and asked about it?
Who?
That guy on ABC Radio, which is why you owe me money. That was
what guy on ABC Radio?
The guy Tom Joyner.
Oh, you mean the guy that played after the girl got bit by a shark and they were singing a song, Biting Whitey?
Another shark bite.
Yeah, this is
another shark bite.
This took place in Hawaii. This little girl is supposed to be a surfing champion. Yeah, 13 years old, went out with her best friend and her friend's father, but she was lying on the board off of Kauai's North Shore. A shark bit once and then disappeared.
So they're laughing at an 11-year-old little girl, 10-year-old little girl. Stephanie Hamilton is her name. Sorry, Bethany Hamilton.
The guy is that.
Excuse me. No. It's not a matter about being funny. So you're quoting a guy that sings racist songs as a legitimate news source. Am I getting that accurate?
The guy's in the Radio Hall of Fame. He's on ABC.
I didn't ask you. Is what you just heard?
Not Hannity.
Excuse me.
He's one of the most
is what you just heard
programs in the country?
You're not going to stop me from asking my question. Is what you just heard racist?
I couldn't hear it. I was talking.
I'll play it again. Well, no, let's play it again. This is about a little 11-year-old girl.
Another shark bite.
Yeah, this is
another shark bite.
This took place in Hawaii. This little girl is supposed to be a surfing champion. Yeah, 13 years old, went out with her best friend and her friend's father, but she was lying on the board off of Kauai's North Shore. A shark bit once and then disappeared, taking her left arm just below the shoulder. Wow. She said nobody saw it happen, but everybody heard her yell, "A shark just bit me." Wow.
Sing it, player.
Inside of the building, stay out the water, white people. Shark won't bite you. That's why he keeps on biting white.
I don't have time to play anymore. Is that racist, Austin?
I don't think it was racist, but it was certainly in racially bad taste.
Racially bad taste. An 11-year-old girl had her arm bitten off by a shark, and they're making fun of it, and the shark only bites white people. That's not racist.
It was their theme of
the theme of their jokes.
Here's what white people
and that's
do
your
that
news
don't make
source.
any sense.
Okay.
And
All right. I'm going to leave it there.
The
Austin Goolsbee thinks that is a legitimate news source. Maybe we'll put it up on Hannity.com as a question. Do you think that show is a legitimate news source? All right, when we come back, we'll add a little sad news about a friend of this program that's really struggling, and we'll tell you about that. We'll get to your calls in the next half hour as well, 800-941-SEAN, if you want to be a part of the program. Well, the ADL had to pull back their anti-Semitic charge against Steve Bannon. Thank goodness he has people that really know him. Let's see, David Horowitz, Dennis Prager, Pam Geller, Joel Pollack, even Alan Dershowitz defended him. Good for him. Anyway, we'll get to that. Hannity tonight at 10 on the Fox News Channel. Set your DVR. Yeah, we'll have the latest on the whiny crybaby protesters. We'll get into all that. Laura Ingraham is on tonight. The latest on the Trump transition. Herman Cain and Ari Fleischer. Also, we will check in with Larry Elder, Ainsley Earhart about her #1 best-selling book, and much more. 10 Eastern, Hannity.
Hannity Headline, a bite-sized version of the show that you can take with you everywhere you go. To sign up today for Hannity Headlines, go to Hannity.com.
I just want to say thank you. You saved me in so many ways. In recent years, I've been struggling with an incurable illness, and I'm on home care now. It was caused by a doctor's medical negligence. And in those dark days, fighting, right now all the tubes have been removed, and I have a do not resuscitate order, and I have a 7-year-old son. In those days in the hospital, I received from you a handwritten letter that said, "To the bravest woman I know."
I remember that. Yeah, I remember that.
And you,
such a wonderful, beautiful woman. I mean, just an amazing woman. And are you coming along okay?
No, sir, but that's okay, because I'm here right now to thank you in person, and that was my biggest dream. And I wanted to thank you because through you and your organizations, my son, who is Mexican American, 7 years old, through your organizations, and just being able to stand on that stage with you back in 2005, the outpouring of love that came from that ultimately provided my son, when he graduates high school, with a full ride to college. And that was
great. And you know what we'll do? We're going to watch him. You're going to watch him, Tana. Tana, watch him. We're going to be watching your boy, okay? But you're going to hopefully be around. You're not going to have anybody watching. You're going to hopefully be around. Those doctors are going to be so wrong. But we'll be helping you.
All right, you may remember that. By the way, 25 till the top of the hour, 800-941-SEAN. That was Melissa Young. I actually become friends with her. And I just talked to her, I guess it was when the night that Trump won, she sent me some really cool pictures. And I checked in with her. And she made it to New York. And she had said it to me at the time that her dream was to live long enough to see Donald Trump get elected. Remember, she was one of the women. If you think back, she was a former Miss Wisconsin, and she was one of the women that came out and said, stop smearing Donald Trump like Carrie Prejean and so many others. I can't list all their names, but they were coming out saying, no, this man helped us. This man was kind to us. This man is not, Roanne Brewer Lane was another. There were so many women that came out and said, no, this is a lie, what they're saying about Donald Trump. And I would say it probably had a very big impact on this election. So she made it. She said her dream was to live long enough to see Donald Trump get elected. Now, what the public doesn't know is that Donald Trump is the one that made her a promise to send her son to college when he's of age. I think her son is 8? And so she's been struggling with this really difficult autoimmune disease of hers, and it's impacted her heart. And basically, she has the heart of a 90-year-old woman. Now, sadly, since Election Day last week, she has taken a very significant turn for the worse. And two of her friends are with us to update us on her condition. And more importantly, we just wanted to send words of love out to her today. And then we'll get to your calls here in a minute. Chelsea Cooley is with us. And by the way, Chelsea is former Miss USA 2005. Rose Tennant, we all know from the host of the Rose Unplugged radio show. Welcome, both of you. Rose, what's going on? She took a bad turn, I hear.
Yeah, she did. And I have to tell you that thanks to you, I got to be friends with Melissa as well. As a matter of fact, when you spoke with her election night, I was able to secure a ticket for her by working with Ashley at the Trump headquarters in New York. And afterwards, she and your Lauren and I stayed up till 5:30 in the morning. She was so thrilled to be a part of that, Sean. She really was. This is one of the most beautiful women I've ever met in my life, inside and out. And the thing is, when people look at her, she's so beautiful, even now as she's dying, that they can't believe she's as sick as she is. But she is sick, Sean. And when I think about those words that Mr. Trump spoke, we're going to be watching your boy, I think that's a mandate for all of us. I think all of us and your listeners, we need to be watching her boy. And because she's taken a worse, and there's some other things that have happened to her since election night. As a matter of fact, one of these things did happen election night. I think we all need to be guidance and protectors of Melissa Young and her son. And there's ways we can do it. And I know Chelsea's going. Hi, Chelsea. How are you?
Hey, I'm great. How are y'all doing?
It's amazing. By the way, I got to give all of you credit. And I know that a whole bunch of you really have offered her such incredible support. And Chelsea, thanks for all that you've been doing to help her. But things aren't looking very good at all.
Well, Melissa and I met on the Miss USA stage, and obviously I won and she got married, and our lives took two totally different turns. And when we reconnected several years ago and I found out about everything that was going on with her medically, being in North Carolina, I felt like I was a million miles away. And so God brought us back together in the most beautiful way. I am her medical power of attorney now, but she's like my sister.
Yeah.
She's my best friend.
So what happened? Somebody broke into her house as well?
On election night.
So ever since she spoke out in March, she's received, of course, a lot of wonderful messages, but she's received a lot of hate mail. And so on election night, someone actually tried to break in, unsuccessfully, nonetheless. But then early Sunday morning, it was actually, she and I had been on the phone for a while, late Saturday night, and within minutes of hanging up from her, they tried again, a second attempt to break in. They were unsuccessful in breaking in, but they did steal her family's car, and they did leave evidence that they would return and possibly try to harm her. And, just to paint the picture for you, Sean, here is a mother that's laying in bed. She's hooked up to IVs, especially at night, where she can get hydration and nutrition through her line. And so when you're having to unplug from IVs, it is not a simple, quick procedure. There's a lot of things that go into place with that. And so here she is frantically trying to break loose, rush into her son's room to make sure that he is okay. All she could do is cover him with her body until the police got there. She was terrified. And now she's living in fear amongst the worst possible circumstances.
Well, I'll tell you the first thing that I'm going to do. I'm going to call my friends at Simply Safe Home Security, and we'll send over a complete system for her, everything she'll need to keep her family safe. So we'll do that first and foremost. And I guess, Rose, I hate to say that, I had such a personal, private conversation about life and death with her.
Yeah,
that she made me a promise. I can't say it on the air.
Okay.
But we had a very personal, very private conversation, and she basically told me she knew that she wasn't going to make it.
Yeah.
And so I said something to her, and she said something to me that I will forever remember for the rest of my life. She was incredible. But let's get her the protection she needs. Is there anything we can do to help her family? Is she financially okay?
I think that we should donate. Chelsea set up a fund for her, and I think we should be donating. And I think that we need to pray for her and her family. She told me today that the only thing that God has left her with is her voice. And she's been using that voice, as weak as it is sometimes, Sean. She uses it for a strong message. And right now she's just asking people, look, we need to come together as a nation. And the truth is, and Chelsea and I talked about this earlier, Melissa was telling us both that everybody has a mom. And whether you're on the left or the right, whether you voted or didn't, how would you feel if your mother, at the end of her life, a mother who only wants to spend her last days with her child, was being terrorized? How can you attempt to rob that mother, not just of her car, but of those final days spent with the very one that she loves so desperately? So I'm asking for prayers, too, for her. And I definitely think we should all reach out and send whatever we can, whether it's $5 or $500.
Yeah.
I think that God will put that to good use.
All right, so I'll tell you what we're going to do. We'll put this up, and I'm going to donate right off the top $10,000 to get it going.
Oh my God!
And Linda, you put that in the. You make sure you put it in the GoFundMe account. You know who to write. And look, I'm not asking for people to put a lot of money in here. If you put $50, $20, $100, if you can do it, this kid's 8 years old. He's got a long life to live. And imagine if it was your child, it would be very, very difficult. And she went out on a limb, sick as a dog, to fight for Donald Trump in this election. I'm going to call Mr. Trump later, and I'll make sure he gets word of her condition. Good. And see if he can get in contact with her. But actually, this breaks.
I appreciate it more than you will ever know. When Melissa had the courage to speak up about her message about Mr. Trump, and just about the man that he is and the man that she and I both know him to be, it wasn't about politics. It was about her personal story with him, and she needed peace before she goes to heaven to know that she could properly thank him for all that he has done in her life. And it was a message to show her son that until your last breath, it doesn't matter if you have to army crawl your way there. It's worth standing up for what's right and for the people that have done right by you. And so, pushing all politics aside, this was a personal human story of the heart. And so, the biggest thing that she wants to get across to everyone right now is that enough is enough. Everybody is hurting each other all because we disagree on something, and we have to come together now in love and respect for one another and move forward. And so that is her prayer for us as a nation, and she's just so indebted to you, Sean, and thinks the world of you. So thank you so much for just shedding light on the story and for continuing to show your support for her.
All right, guys, thank you both for being with us.
Thank you.
We really appreciate it, and she's in our prayers. Melissa Young, we'll put that up on our website. She's got an 8-year-old little boy. And if you can give, I know everybody's struggling. I have gone out of my way. I don't ask people to spend money anymore. What's one of the reasons we don't do concerts? Because people can't afford this anymore. That's how bad this Obama economy has been. But, maybe in the spirit of Thanksgiving, Christmas, you can give a little bit. It's on my website. I'm going to lead by example. I don't care if it's $10, $5. It's whatever you can. It's an 8-year-old boy that's got to grow up. All right, let's get to our busy telephones as we say hi to Ted is in Dover, Delaware. Ted, how are you, sir? Welcome to the Sean Hannity Show.
Hey, how you doing, Sean? It's been a while. Boy, this has been one heck of election year. First of all, my prayers go out to the family. And first of all, I want to say you're a real class act, man.
Thanks, brother. Thanks, my friend. God bless you. Listen, aren't you happy? Don't you feel a sense of, and it's not, by the way, arrogant happy. It's not, oh, we won, you lost, na happy. It's not that for me. It's, I just feel happy that I really feel we've got a shot at correcting what has gone so wrong in this country and getting people opportunity and hope back.
Well, you've been vindicated. Like I said, if anybody hasn't told you, you took a lot of arrows in the last 8 years. All I can say, man, is personally, thank you for being our voice. I'm going to tell you, man, I got so frustrated I couldn't listen to the radio, but I had to pick it up.
Oh, thank you.
You were telling us the truth. You kept me going. Remember what you said, let your heart not be troubled. Brother, I was putting it all on you, man, but let me tell you something. We came through. And like you said, we're not doing no end zone dance. We got a lot of work to do.
No, I agree.
You've been vindicated. You've been vindicated for the last 8 years. You've been ringing the bells, warning bells.
It's funny you say. I'll tell you the one thing the media never got: the statistics that I repeated again and again and again. Who was I talking about? The people in poverty on food stamps, out of the labor force that can't buy a house. That haven't felt any benefit because there's no recovery, the worst recovery since the 40s. That is the forgotten men and women of this country that went out in droves saying, we want jobs, we want hope, we want opportunity, we want, get government off our freaking back because the burden is killing us. Anyway, thank you, Ted. All right, buddy, appreciate it. God bless you. And Rich is in Chicago, the Windy City, where Ram Rambo Deadfish, your mayor, who, by the way, has presided over, since Obama's been president, around 4,000 people in Chicago killed, vast majority black American, and this year alone, over 3,000 people in Chicago shot. What a great track record, Ram Rambo Deadfish. Oh, and he says he's going to... Yeah,
I'm sorry to interrupt. Go ahead.
Yeah, and he's gonna always keep his city a sanctuary city and violate the law. So maybe we can take him out in handcuffs and put him in the pokey.
That would be a beautiful sight and a sight of justice in this country. Finally.
Yeah. I only got about 40 seconds. It's all yours, though. What's on your mind?
Okay, so earlier you played a clip from President Obama in Greece, and it sounded like a classic example of what we call in the, I'm a therapist, so what we call in the mental health community as a folie à impulse, or it's like when a large group of people are like hypnotized by an enigmatic person like Obama or like Hitler or like Mao or like whoever, and they all have this delusional belief, this world belief that it has to be this way. It can be no other way. They're like stuck in this mindset, liberalism, that they just can't get out of. And if it's like what just happened, this, I wouldn't say shattering, I guess maybe fracturing of their reality, they're having this neural meltdown.
You know, you're really hitting on something that I believe in. And I wish I had more time to analyze this with you. Would you call us back next week? Because I'm off tomorrow. And I would love to get into this deeper with you because Democrats, they're susceptible to lies. That's why Democratic leaders say Republicans are racist, sexist, homophobic, Islamophobic, xenophobic every election season. It's all predicated on a lie. And that's why Obama, Hope and Change, people bought into rhetoric lies in the hopes that their lives would get better. It never happened. It never became reality. All right, so we made it. All right, when we come back, news roundup, information overload, the smearing and character assassination of Steve Bannon, somebody that knows him best. Joel Pollack will join us from Breitbart. Hannity tonight at 10. The crybabies are still on parade. The president won't tell them to stop. And also we'll talk more about media bias with Larry Elder, Ainsley Earhardt. By the way, Ainsley is at book review in Huntington tonight. I get to introduce her for her brand new book, Take Heart, My Child. So that's at 7 p.m. at book review in Huntington. Hope you can come out and see us if you're in Long Island.
This is the Sean Hannity Show podcast. Stay right here for our final news roundup and information overload.
Can you name for me, Don, one white nationalist article at Breitbart? Just one. I saw that whole build-up segment. I didn't see a single white nationalist article. Not one.
There's an article offending the alt-right, and also the alt-right praises Breitbart, and even he has said he is a platform for the alt-right, so why traffic in that if he doesn't support it?
It's important to draw a distinction between covering something and defending something. We published an article several months ago explaining the alt-right, talking about which parts of it were more offensive, which parts of it were less so. And that's not defending the alt-right. That's explaining it. In fact, the title, I believe, was something like Explaining the Alt-Right to Mainstream Conservatives. That's journalism. That's not defense or advocacy. So I think it's very important to understand the distinction between those two, and that's a distinction we made very clearly at Breitbart and still make today. You should read the entire article. I think the article stands for itself. I think it goes through the different components of the alt-right. It's called journalism. The New Yorker does it. The New York Times does it. CNN occasionally does it.
Well, here's what my colleague Anna Navarro tweeted this. She said, folks, it's real simple. Good, decent, inclusive Americans who believe in equality do not get praised by the American Nazi Party and the KKK. So the question is, why does President-elect Trump want Bannon in the White House?
Well, let's put it this way. You have the new Black Panther Party praising Barack Obama. You have Obama sitting in Jeremiah Wright's church for 20 years, and he dissociated himself from Jeremiah Wright.
None of those people were advisors.
Wait a second.
To,
you have to.
Hold on.
No, he was.
If you're asking me to be honest and fact check, none of those people were advisors to the president. He did not appoint any of those people.
You're not applying the same standard to both people. Barack Obama was the president and came from this environment. Steve Bannon does not come from those environments. And Anna Navarro and Evan McMullen have both lied openly about Steve Bannon. They have both said he's an anti-Semite. Evan is on your show tonight. He can't defend that statement. Kurt Bardella didn't even try to say whether Steve Bannon's an anti-Semite or not. So the entire premise of your discussion, Don, is Steve Bannon's an anti-Semite. I think we've proven that to be false because Evan can't defend it, Kurt can't defend it, Anna can't defend it, and it's not true. And I think that when you do this is what the media do, this is what the establishment does. They throw out a bunch of innuendo to try to smear somebody. The most offensive thing Steve Bannon ever did was win the White House with Donald Trump. And if it was up to these people, it would be Hillary Clinton picking the Supreme Court and consigning our democracy to decline. And Steve Bannon deserves the praise of these folks, not their condemnation. The point of this discussion is whether Steve Bannon's a white nationalist and an anti-Semite. I'm glad that we've put that myth to bed. Now let's move on to talking about the country.
I don't think we put that myth to bed. I think that's still a question about it. Just because you say it, it doesn't mean that he's not. And I don't know that he is, but he certainly traffics in it when he says...
He made a business of it.
Yes.
He certainly did not. You guys can't throw out lies like that and ask me to prove a negative when you can't even prove the positive. I could say anything about you, Don Lemon. You know, your network had a commentator the other night who said that the vote for Donald Trump was a white lash. Now, are you a black nationalist network because Van Jones said that there was a white lash? I mean, that's just ridiculous.
That's apples and pears.
No, it's not. It's the same thing. It's exactly the same thing.
Wow. That was Joel Pollack. He's been a friend of mine for a long time. I've known Joel. He's the senior editor-at-large, in-house counsel at Breitbart News, and the author of the brand new book, 19 Hard Truths That the Left Refuses to See, Hear, or Speak About. And he was on the Clinton News Network, and that's the way the Clinton News Network rolls. And that they move forward with slander, smear, besmirchment, not only of Donald Trump this entire campaign, but in this particular case, it was against Steve Bannon. One of the best parts of that debate, Joel, is when you said, all right, give me one example of where Breitbart or Steve Bannon have been, you know, either racist or anti-Semitic. And they couldn't give you an answer, could they?
No, and that's the nature of this kind of allegation. It's just designed to marginalize and freeze the target in Saul Alinsky terms. They just throw that stuff out there. They feel no obligation to prove it, and that's what I showed, is that they couldn't prove it, not even with one piece of evidence.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty amazing. Now, you happen to be, and we're friends, so I know this, and you're very out there about your faith. You're an Orthodox. You're Orthodox Jewish in your faith. You absolutely follow, you know, strict adherence to the Sabbath. Is that correct? And all of these
That's
important things in your life, which, by the way, I admire, as this is a country founded on Judeo-Christian principles. And so many other people. Pam Geller wrote me a note so angry the other day at how they're treating Bannon. And a number of other people of the Jewish faith, friends of mine, have written similar things because they feel this charge against Bannon is so unfair. And you have been probably the loudest and most articulate voice in favor of Steve. And I want you to address what they're trying to do to him.
Well, they're trying to make him toxic, and they're trying to do that so they can get to Donald Trump. And they're trying to get to Donald Trump so they can get to the 61 million people who voted for Donald Trump. You know, those 61 million people heard all of this stuff in August and September. All of these things were already said. This was all an argument that was had and that was ignored. And the 61 million people looked past all the nonsense and the political correctness and the innuendo, and they just went to the polls and voted for change. And now the media is trying to punish them for doing that. And they're regurgitating, recirculating all this stuff that has no basis whatsoever. And they're trying to deny the reckoning that has to come for the way they conducted themselves during this election. The media missed the story. They missed the anger. They missed the desire for change. Even Michael Moore was telling them, you're going to lose Wisconsin, Michigan, Ohio, and Pennsylvania unless you listen. It's amazing. Michael Moore actually listed the state well in advance, and he was warning them. And you've got liberals like Thomas Frank telling the media, hey, you guys have to learn a lesson. Stop talking down to people. Start listening to people. But they don't want to learn that lesson, so they want to relitigate, regurgitate everything that they tried during the election. And, you know, I say keep doing it, because if you wanted to unify conservatives, this is the way to do it.
Well, look, I got to tell you something. I just think that nobody saw this coming. Do you know how many people said to me that, you know, the day after Election Day, Hannity, your career's over. You're done. You're finished. And I said, well, maybe it is, but people said that in 2008 and 2004 and 2012 and in 2000. So I guess I must be doing something consistently right, because I think I was pretty dead on in my predictions about how bad Obama would be as a president. And I always said that Donald Trump can win. Yes, he can. I'd say it's not easy. The electoral map is never easy for a Republican. But the reason he won is because I regurgitated every day what the reason was. Americans out of work, in poverty, on food stamps, that can't get jobs and can't advance their lives. And government has become the hugest obstacle in their lives. And then this was as big a choice election, maybe even bigger than Carter and Reagan. We'll find out in the end. Who knows? So I think, you know, and Steve Bannon, to his credit, played a very big part, as well as Kellyanne and as well as, you know, everybody around Donald Trump in structuring the message to what I call the forgotten man and the forgotten women. Those people that the 50 million in poverty, the 50 million on food stamps, the 95 million out of the labor force. That's what this election to me was all about.
That's right. And you know that because you talk every day to the listeners of this show and you hear their concerns and you debate people who disagree with you and you have your finger on the pulse. Most journalists don't. And I was on the traveling press plane with Donald Trump for the last 2 weeks, and I would wander into the crowds at these rallies, and people didn't know I wrote for Breitbart. They just saw I was with the press. And people, especially women, would come up to me, and they would grab my elbow and say, "Stop ignoring us. Stop ignoring us. I'm a college-educated woman. I'm a business owner. I'm a mother. I'm supporting Donald Trump, and I'm a smart person, and you guys keep demeaning us." And they really felt like the media was not listening to them. And the media really wasn't. I mean, at the last big rally, or second to last one in New Hampshire, the night before Election Day, Donald Trump read a letter that he got from Bill Belichick saying what a great guy he was or whatever. And then he went into a speech which was historic because it was the first time a Republican presidential candidate was appealing directly to the working class of America, telling them that they were going to strike back. What did the media fixate on? They didn't talk about his words to the working men and women. They talked about Bill Belichick and was the letter real and could it have been written differently? And they missed completely what Donald Trump was telling the voters. The Bill Belichick stuff was sort of decoration. The real message was, we're going to take our country back. They didn't report that part, and that's why it surprised them 24 hours later.
Yeah. Well, I think that we now have a media in wait, and the wait is they're on. Remember when Dan Quayle was appointed as vice president? They went on their infamous Quayle hunt, and their goal was to smear and slander this guy. By the way, very decent man, hardworking, successful, but they didn't want to hear it. So, you know, it's very funny because, like, this little pipsqueak that works over at CNN, Brian Stelter, you know, he tweets out and he sends a message. Media accessibility was a winning strategy for Trump in the primaries. How about trying it again now as president-elect? And I tweeted back, I said, hey, Pipsqueak, why should @RealDonald Trump ever go on CNN again? CNN gave @Hillary Clinton debate questions, and they colluded with the DNC about what questions to ask Donald Trump, Ted Cruz, and Carly Fiorina. And now if I'm Donald Trump's campaign or now President-elect Trump's transition team, I'm looking at the revelations of the New York Times. I'm looking at the revelations about CNN and CNBC and NBC and MSNBC and the Boston Globe and basically every other major media outlet. And my attitude is, why should he? He should transcend the media. Do what he did during the election. Go on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. Go on shows that will actually allow him to give a full answer. And, you know, he doesn't need these people anymore. The world has been transformed. There is a media revolution going on before their very eyes, and they're just not in tune to it, apparently.
Well, and he wouldn't be the first, by the way. We had President Obama going to YouTube stars and Zach Galifianakis and all this kind of alternative media stuff, so there's certainly a precedent for that. But look, some of these journalists that I met and got to know are nice people, but there's also a narrative that they work within which just shuts out the other side in many cases. And there are exceptions. There are some good journalists out there who really get the story. But overall, the narrative controls everything in the media. And the focus at all of these Donald Trump events was much more on, what's he going to trip on now?
I want you to listen to this montage that we found. I mean, because it just shows how god-awful they were and how absolutely flawed they are. Listen to this. This will blow your mind.
Donald Trump, just last week, he confirmed to the National Review that he is again considering a run in 2016.
Do it. Do it. Look at me. Do it. I will personally write you a campaign check now on behalf of this country, which does not want you to be president, but which badly wants you to run.
Donald Trump has been saying that he will run for president as a Republican, which is surprising since I just assumed he was running as a joke.
Is that people think that Donald Trump is a clown.
Donald Trump is a clown. I mean, does anybody seriously think that Donald Trump is serious about running for president?
Donald Trump, he's a clown.
Which Republican candidate has the best chance of winning the general election?
Of the declared ones right now, Donald Trump.
President Obama will go down as perhaps the worst president in the history of the United States! Exclamation point. @RealDonald Trump. Well, @RealDonald Trump. At least I will go down as a president.
So basically, this is the beginning of the end for Trump.
The beginning of the end.
Beginning of the end?
This is probably starting of the beginning of the end for Donald Trump.
Donald, you're not going to be able to insult your way to the presidency.
The strongest person usually isn't the loudest one in the room.
So right now we have Hillary's about a 75 or an 80% favorite. We have different versions of the forecast you can look at.
Poll has Hillary Clinton up by double digits nationally, 12 points, 50 to 38, a four-way race.
Clinton leading in Florida, Clinton leading in North Carolina, Clinton leading in Ohio, Clinton leading in Nevada. I could go on and on and on.
I continue to believe Mr. Trump will not be president.
And so, right now, Mr. Trump, to answer your call for political honesty, I just want to say, you're not going to be president, all right? It's been fun. It's been great. I love you. But come on, buddy.
We have a major projection right now. Donald Trump will take Ohio. And CNN projects Donald Trump will carry the state of Florida. Huge win for Donald Trump. Donald Trump, we project, will win in Kentucky, in Indiana, with its 11 electoral votes. West Virginia, Tennessee, Mississippi, South Carolina, Alabama, North Dakota, with its 3 electoral votes, and South Dakota, Texas, Arkansas, Louisiana, the state of Montana, North Carolina, Georgia, Iowa, Utah, Wisconsin, Arizona, Kansas with its 6 electoral votes, Nebraska with its 5 electoral votes, and Wyoming with its 3 electoral votes.
Sorry to keep you waiting. Complicated business. A lot of people have laughed at me over the years. Now they're not laughing so much, I'll tell you.
It's so good, isn't it, Joel? I'll give you the last word because I think this is what we're going to expect when every appointment is announced.
I think that whether you're a Republican or a Democrat, you can enjoy that montage because it's about somebody who gets picked on, bullied, and made fun of coming back and proving that they can do it and they can succeed. And there's something really American about that, and I hope everybody can take heart from that.
All right, Joel, I appreciate you shedding some light. You know, the charge of racism, anti-Semitism is so awful. It is so god-awful. Nobody would ever want it. And that's why liberals and the left do it all the time. And that's absolutely, to me, unreal. Love your work, sir. Thank you. Hope to see you soon. All right, when we come back, wide open telephones. My buddy John is here from Masterbuilt. And he just literally deep fried a turkey in an hour. It's my favorite cooking device, the Butterball turkey fryer. So that's coming up. Also, Hannity tonight, the Crybabies, and now supported by the president, these agitators in chief, Laura Ingraham. We'll talk about the transition with Ari Fleischer and Herman Cain tonight. And media bias on this. Why should Donald Trump ever do CNN, NBC, ABC, CBS ever again? Ainsley Earhart, Larry Elder. And by the way, if you're in the Long Island area, I will be introducing Ainsley tonight. Her brand new book, Take Heart, My Child, #1 in the country. She's going to be signing copies at Book Review in Huntington, so I'll see some of you out there tonight at 7 p.m. in Huntington. Hope you can join us. Quick break, right back. We'll continue. Oh, and Harvey Levin tonight. He had a one-on-one with Donald Trump that's going to air tomorrow.
Hannity Headline, a bite-sized version of the show that you can take with you everywhere you go. To sign up today for Hannity Headlines, go to Hannity.com.
All right, 25 now till the top of the hour. 800-941-SEAN if you want to be a part of the program. We'll get to your calls. If you hear food in my mouth, there's a reason for it. Because my good friend John McLemore, CEO of Masterbuilt, they've got this Butterball turkey fryer that you can cook your Thanksgiving turkey in. And it is the juiciest, the best, the most delicious turkey you've ever had. You know how turkey's dry when you put it in the oven? Mm-hmm. No, that's not the case here. And you've heard me bragging about my Masterbuilt smoker. I use it all the time. The great thing about that is you can literally turn it on and off from remote locations. Listen, I'm telling you right now, I'm a better turkey chef than Martha Stewart. I make better ribs than Martha Stewart because I have Masterbuilt. And that's the only reason. How you doing, my brother? Good to see you.
Sean, I'm telling you, that's what everybody's saying out there is that, Masterbuilt is making folks chefs in their own backyard.
I know. You keep talking. It's delicious.
So you keep talking with your mouth full.
No, here's the thing. This is, for example, I always think chicken is more juicy than turkey.
Yep.
Not with Masterbuilt.
Not with Masterbuilt.
No way.
Well, what we've done is we've got technology with a turkey fryer that is built to commercial standards that people can use safely indoors, and it allows you to flash fry your turkey in about an hour. So we showed up here, okay, and we fried a turkey, a 15-pound turkey, 4 minutes per pound in 60 minutes. So you free
and by the way,
up your
what
oven.
is that in an oven? That's an oven that's 6, 7 hours, right?
That's right, and you don't have
and by
to
the
worry
way,
about it being dry.
And I don't care how many times you baste the turkey. You take your turkey baster, you shoot it all over the turkey.
You don't have to do anything.
Yeah, but it doesn't work because it doesn't get deep down into the turkey. When you actually use the Butterball turkey fryer, you know, it's so juicy. Every bite is juicy.
And, you know, the thing is, people want to have that peace of mind to have a safe way to fry their turkey. There's no flame. There's no fear. And the time is amazing. Instead of having to get up at 3 o'clock in the morning, you can have your turkey done super quick. So if you're going to have Thanksgiving lunch, you can have your turkey done in about an hour. Yeah, and it frees up that oven for all those casseroles.
Now, that's the thing, because in the olden days, people would take a bunch of oil, they'd throw it in a pot, they'd put down the turkey, and what would happen?
Yeah. In their backyard, they're
up.
They're calling the fire department. We have for 12 years, Sean. We have never overheated oil with the Butterball turkey fryer. But the technology controls the temperature and gives
Give me
people
some
this peace
examples
of
of what you heard though over the years. People frying their own turkey, their own homemade contraption in the backyard.
Yeah, you have to worry
it's like,
about
basically,
the weather.
It's like a meth lab.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Well, we're solving all of that. And you're a big football fan, right?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, so imagine Thanksgiving is over. What else do you want to fry in your Butterball turkey fryer? Buffalo wings.
Love that.
3 to 5 pounds of buffalo wings. We do southern fried
How long would
fish,
that take? It would probably take like 3 minutes.
If you put 3 pounds of buffalo wings in the turkey fryer, it takes about 15 minutes.
Unbelievable.
And here's the other thing. You like low country seafood boils? Instead of putting your oil in the turkey fryer, you put in water and you can boil and steam with the same product.
By the way, you can use it for vegetables. You can use it for healthy cooking.
You can use it for healthy cooking. But I'm going to tell you something. When you think of deep frying a turkey and that juice and that flavor, it is so actually, people are asking, is it nutritional compared to oven roasting a turkey?
Depends what kind of oil you use.
If you use peanut oil, it only uses 2 tablespoons of oil when you fry turkey. So the nutritional facts are so amazingly close. And the flavor and the taste and the time and the ease, it is absolutely the best turkey you'll ever eat.
This is not even close. If you've never fried a turkey, and the only way you've had a turkey is a conventional oven, you've not lived.
No.
It is an experience. Number one, as you say, you're going to free up the oven. You don't got to wait the 7 hours. You don't have to stick the stupid temperature contraption in it.
Nope.
You don't have to wait for that stupid thing to pop out that never works anyway.
Yeah, and I tell you,
your turkey's done. So, and then you cut up the turkey and it's all dry and falling apart. And, look, I remember carving those turkeys, and they just never carved well.
Yeah.
This carves perfectly.
Yeah, ask Governor Huckabee. He loves our turkey fryer, and we have cooked on Fox and Friends with him. We're going to be there this Saturday.
Oh, that's awesome.
Frying some turkeys for everybody there. And Sean, it's about allowing people to relax and be able to spend more time on the things that matter most. Instead of having to fret over the meal, we're going to make it easy. We're going to make it safe. We're going to free up your oven. We're going to save folks time. And when they sit down at the dinner table, they're saying, that is the best turkey I have ever tasted. Masterbuilt wants everybody to enjoy their Thanksgiving, and Butterball Turkey Fryer allows them to do that.
But it's also safe.
It is safe.
You can do it in your kitchen. You don't have to take it outside. There's no risk of any fire.
Nope.
It only takes an hour. It's the juiciest turkey you've ever had, the most delicious.
Yep.
Look, I just love it.
Yeah.
The only reason, look, I'm not bringing you on here for no other reason except you're here, you're a friend, you're an advertiser, and I just love the product.
Yeah, well,
that's
and
it.
You love the turkey.
Yeah, I just
There's
finished
none
the whole
left.
plate of it, yeah.
So I tell you, Sean, Masterbuilt has been a family business for 43 years. I'm second generation. My son, John, is going to be third generation. And we have built products that change the way people cook at their home. And our smokers, you're a big lover of our smokers, the turkey fryers. It allows people to take recipes that they love to do, but they typically don't want to do them because they're scared of them. They've got that intimidation factor. My wife Tanya's here with us today, and we've been married for 28 years. Never oven roasted turkey.
I want to ask you, why did you marry him? What was the thinking behind this?
Yeah, be careful answering that, Tanya.
Because you married way up.
I married way up, Sean. Yeah, something tells me you did too.
This is like way out of your league. But,
yeah, you know, we just had a wedding a couple of weeks ago. Our son John got married. Him and Michelle, yep. So we've been very busy at Masterbuilt. Obviously, this time of the year is crazy busy for all of us.
We got a link up on my website, Hannity.com, and I'm just telling my audience, Masterbuilt products, their smokers, their Butterball turkey fryer is the best you've ever had.
Yeah.
And where else? You can get them in every store you want, right?
Just about every retailer all over the country, Sean, from Sam's and Walmart, Home Depot, Lowe's, the sporting goods stores, Bass Pro, Cabela's, Amazon, QVC.
Everywhere.
Has a digital product that we've got. It's available
You have
everywhere.
your own website, masterbuilt.com, right?
Masterbuilt.com, so the folks can get our recipes, talk to our customer service department, and get a product that you can relax with Thanksgiving. So we love the relationship here, Sean. We've definitely built a great friendship, and
listen, the fact that you do this for me every year is like such a treat for me, because I come in, I didn't eat all day knowing you were going to be here.
You know what's funny is I remember how you and I got actually linked up. You were watching late night TV, and I was frying a turkey on an infomercial,
and I said I wanted that.
You said you wanted that fryer.
I actually ordered one.
Yeah, and it was Tuesday.
Yeah,
and we got it here the very next day. You fried your turkey. So
it's great,
and it
you know why I had to order a new one? Somebody in my family stole my Butterball turkey fryer, and they won't own up to it. And I'm really pissed off because you know what? It's bad enough that I try and be generous, to everybody, and I'm like, you have to steal it?
Yeah.
There's this thief in my family.
We've had some video with folks delivering on UPS and FedEx, and the video shows people coming up to people's houses and stealing the Butterball turkey fryer. It's a great product. So
it's unbelievable.
And we got you 2 more sent out there, so we'll work out the payment later, Sean.
No, I told you I've got to pay for them, and because those are legal rules.
Yeah,
but the payment you asked for is fair.
Yeah,
it's hard as hell, but fair. I mean, you're getting as great as Masterbuilt Butterball turkey fryer is. Yeah. It's definitely a harder pull on my part. Let me put it that way. But I'm going to get it done.
Yeah, you're going to get it done.
Well, listen, I got to roll. John McLemore, CEO, Masterbuilt. It's up on Hannity.com, Amazon.com, and every store, Sam's, Walmart, Target, Kmart,
Home Depot,
Lowe's,
everybody.
Everybody. All right, man?
Yeah, and Masterbuilt.com for the recipe. Oh, there's a 2-minute video of me frying a turkey showing folks step by step, so it takes 100% of the guesswork
it's easy.
out of frying a turkey.
By the way, it's so simple. A 10-year-old can do it.
Yeah, it's so simple even Sean can do it.
All right, you wise ass. I used to be a cook in a restaurant. All right, man. Good to see you again. Thanks for being with us.
Yes, sir.
All right, 800-941-SEAN, our number if you want to be a part of the program.
Based on current surveys of public opinion in the United States, it turns out that the majority of Americans think I've done a pretty good job. That we haven't, in fact, gone too fast, as you describe it. But what is certainly true is that the American people, just like the German people, just like the British and people around the world, are seeing extraordinarily rapid change. The world is shrinking, economies have become much more integrated, and demographics are shifting. Because of the internet and communications, the clash of cultures is much more direct. People feel, I think, less certain about their identity, less certain about economic security. They're looking for some means of control. And what that means is that the politics in all of our countries is going to require us to manage technology and global integration and all these demographic shifts in a way that makes people feel more control, that gives them more confidence in their future, but does not resort to simplistic answers or divisions of race or tribe or a crude nationalism, which I think can be contrasted to the pride and patriotism that we all feel about our respective countries. And I think that our politics everywhere are going to be going through this bumpy phase.
Oh, yeah, masterful job. If I didn't promise I wouldn't repeat or regurgitate my statistics, I'd give them to you. Now, just look on the political side of this for 1 second here. Since Obama became president in 2009, let's see, 13 Senate seats have been turned blue to red, Republican, 64 House seats, 14 governorships, 30 state houses. That is unbelievable. All right, Donna's in Staten Island. Donna, do you think we're all better off because of the anointed one?
Oh, my God. Please, don't even get me started. You know, I told everybody, for anybody that believes the numbers that he's putting forth based on quote-unquote polls, take a look at what the polls were telling us about how Hillary was crushing it against Trump. You can't believe any of these polls. And all of these polls are all propaganda to prop him up, prop Hillary up. And in the end, when the American people actually express what they believe and what they think and what they feel, it's not what he's talking about. Not at all. They live in their own little fantasy world that the media creates for them. It's not even legit. It's just not.
Listen, I am going to, I'm going to address this tonight because Obama also today was asked while overseas, should these protesters stop? And we've got video of some violence that has broken out, and we've chronicled it here on this radio program. And, these crybaby, oh, I need my aromatherapy. Oh, I need my pet therapy. Oh, I need a cry room at college. Crybabies. You know what? Some of them are getting violent. The president had an opportunity to tell them to knock it off, grow up, get a life, but the president wouldn't do that because that doesn't fit in with his Alinskyite strategy. Once an Alinsky disciple, always an Alinsky disciple. But I'm going to lay out exactly. He came in a radical and he's leaving a radical. That's the Obama that I warned you about in 07 and 08. Okay, unbelievable.
How about how he also whines about the use of social media and slogans? I remember 8 years ago, didn't he have a slogan? Didn't he use social media? You know why they're so annoyed? Because Trump did it even better than they did. He took what they used a couple of years ago, and he did it tenfold and did it so much more effectively. And that's why they're whining about that, too.
Well, I appreciate it. Donna, this is one hell of an election year. Thank you. You've been with us forever. We love you. We appreciate it.
And thank you for leading the way and giving a lot of us hope because it was getting really scary for a while there, but you were always a bright light for us. So thank you.
Donna, that is my job. And then you, the American people, everyone did their job this year. Tony in North Carolina. Tony, we got a minute. It's all yours. Go.
So much, Sean. Sean, I just wanted to tell you about an acronym I thought up for the voters that didn't have the election turn out like they hoped for. And it's PEEVED. P-E-E, V as in Victor, E-D, post-election extreme voter emotion disorder.
Yeah. Listen, how did our grandparents ever deal with life without aromatherapy, without cry rooms, without hot cocoa from their special counselors because they didn't like the election results? I never got my hot cocoa.
Do you think part of it is, Sean, that this wasn't just being angry about Donald Trump, but the humiliation of basically like a football team losing a game that they were really favored to win?
Well, the media, once again, remember, look, the media has a lot of culpability here, and we've chronicled their bias. But just like in the Trayvon Martin, George Zimmerman case, they created an impression of what the outcome was going to be. They did it in the Michael Brown case. They did it in the Freddie Gray case. Wrong, 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 wrong. The president's a four-time loser on those big issues. They're always wrong, and they always create a false expectation in people's minds, and they're guilty for that.
Well, Sean, I want to thank you for
thank you.
Saving my sanity, but regaining it.
I appreciate your kind words. Thank you so much. All right, that's going to wrap things up for today. I will see some of you in an hour over at Huntington in book review. Ainsley Earhart's doing a reading. I'll talk a little politics. A brand new book, #1 in the country, thanks to all of you. Take Heart, My Child. It's a great Christmas, great Thanksgiving gift for the child in your life. Maybe grandma or grandpa would give it, or maybe mom and dad want to give it to their child. Read it to them at night. It's got a great message and a great story behind it. So that's tonight at 7. I'll see you there. Thanks for being with us. I'm off tomorrow. You know why? Because I'm tired. I'll see you tonight at 10, and I'll be back here on Monday.